WJFK, and we are Ron and Fez.
All right, Fez, you were talking about some of the changes that they're making in the schools, and also in the the language we can use for political correctness, and they've even changed the history books a lot since we were younger. Good thing or bad thing, Fez?
If it's the truth, I think it's a good thing. If it's the honest facts, it's a good thing. If it slants it in a different direction towards someone else's agenda, that's probably not good.
Give me an example where that would be used, where it's slanted in somebody else's agenda.
If it made it look like, and just using this as an example, where all white people are bad.
Okay, I don't think it does that, but I think probably part of the heat that's changed in the history books is that white people at that time, since they were on the upside, I mean, when you look at, let's say, whites and blacks in slavery, who would play the bad guy there?
The whites.
If you looked at whites and Indians, who would play the bad guy there?
It's going to be the whites again.
Okay, so where is it being slanted away? Maybe, here's one of the things. Maybe if we look at our history, and I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and say that I'm a historian, but maybe if we look at ourselves during some of this and take credit for it, or at least take responsibility for some of these things, we won't be so quick to say, hey, if somebody doesn't agree with us, let's turn that place into sand, like everybody else was around here talking a little while back. Maybe we're quick to say maybe some of these things take a little more thought than just might. But then again, maybe I'm wrong. 866-277-4969. Now, the kids, let me check with Mikey. You got a daughter, right?
Yes.
Do you bother teaching her much American history, or you just leave it up to the school?
I teach her some American history, but, that's stuff that I learned, and that's a while ago.
Right.
So I'm leaving it up to the school to really...
Does it bother you when they change some of the stuff like that we were taught? Because I remember being a kid, and the cowboys and the cavalry, those were the good guys.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of changed in the last 25 years or so.
Right.
And not only there, but even in, like, the films that Hollywood makes. You'll never see that great cavalry like you used to see years ago that John Wayne was in. They would be murdering dogs.
And on the other side of it, you're not going to see the wild, rampaging pack of Indians.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see some really together people that are a lot more spiritually together than we were.
Yeah, so what she's learning right now, if she watches one of those old movies, 20, 25 years ago, she's going to probably look at it and say, what the hell's going on, really,
So, are you okay with that, though?
I'm okay with it, yeah. And I could tell her as she gets older what I learned and how it's all changed.
Well, you'll wait. All right, Here's Brian. Brian, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Brian, go ahead.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Hey, buddy.
Listen, I'm a government major down here in Northern Virginia at George Mason University, and we had to do a comparison of, kind of real political correctness and things going on. And one of the things my professor brought to us was that out in Oklahoma City, the schools are, African American majority. They are making their students pledge allegiance, have to sing the black, or say the black pledge of allegiance, pledging, honor and, we pledge allegiance to the colors of Africa, the red, black, and green, and
this cannot. I do not believe that this takes place in an American public school. I just don't believe it.
I was surprised at first that there was a black pledge allegiance to the flag, and I'm thinking, what is the different version? But you can't pledge allegiance to a different country.
Not only that, no. I'm telling you, it exists. It is out there, and it is happening.
Brian, I'm not saying that you weren't told this is fact. I'm telling you that there's no way that I can sit here and believe that a public school in the United States of America has children salute another flag. There's no way.
Well, my stance on the whole thing was that it couldn't exist on the basis that it was treason.
I just don't think it. I think somebody fed you something there, Brian. But thank you for calling.
I don't think it's anywhere in this country, and especially Oklahoma City.
866-277-4969. What is it, Mikey?
One thing that surprised me yesterday when I went to see my daughter in the dance recital thing, they did the Pledge of Allegiance, and they did Under God.
They always have.
I thought they banned that.
No, they have not.
Oh, okay.
The same way we've always done it.
Okay.
Right?
And that was in San Francisco.
All right.
And they went back on it.
Yeah, that would take forever for that to change. 866-277-4969, talking about some of the politics. And also, Christopher Columbus, Fezzi, we were kind of thought hero. Now they're teaching the kids almost like he was a murderer.
Serial killer.
And yet we still have Columbus Day. So, you know.
Serial killer day.
Here's Joseph. Joseph, you're on a Fez.
Hey, Joseph.
Hey, buddies, what's up?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, I grew up in Italy, and you're talking about Columbus, and like over there, he's like a fanatical hero. They have like game shows where every single question is about Christopher Columbus. And
all right, that would be easy to win.
Yeah, you
that would be 1492.
But
that would be Santa Maria.
They just constantly think of him like if anyone says anything negative, it's like very, very, like when the other caller said, like Italians take it to heart.
Well,
like they really get hurt when they're like saying something bad about him.
What do you think, Joseph? You grew up there. What do you think of Christopher Columbus?
Well, they say that, the only thing that they said bad about him is that, he died of syphilis. So they said all these people died because they brought diseases to the Americas, but they never killed anybody. It was just from diseases. All
right, so you're saying they're saying it's just disease. He wasn't whacking people out one after another like we're taught.
The sword wasn't drawn.
I think he did. Personally, I think he did. But I just think, like,
you can't say that
old
in
traditions like that, they're like, they have a hero and they just don't want to think of him in a bad light at all.
All right, thank you. Mikey's got some information for us.
Now, according to Bobby Castillo of the American Indian Movement, he's saying that, like, every 90 days, once Christopher Columbus came over, the Indians had to give him a certain amount of gold. If they didn't give him a certain amount of gold from the age of 16 on up, they would cut off the hands of the Indian people. And then if they tried to run away, they would send the dogs after them, and then they would chop off their legs.
So you're saying that's according to them, but do we know, that's getting back to Fez's thing, is that just to turn everything around, or do we have real information?
That's what he's in charge of the American Indian Movement here, and that's what he's stating. That's what he's claiming.
Here's Al. Al, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, Al, what you got?
Hey, Ron and Fez, how you doing?
Good, buddy.
Hey, I can't understand all this political correctness when you have a National Football League team called the Washington Redskins.
I'm stunned that they've been able to keep that name.
It seems like it could be taken away any second, and probably should have.
Well, it just seems like the owner has so much money, he can buy himself an excuse.
I don't know if anybody's ever even challenged it, have they, with the Redskins?
I would imagine it's come up, but you don't see near the furor there for, like, any high school team that's even the Warriors or Indians or anything like that.
But I guess that's taxpayers' money, as opposed to...
a little easier to fight.
Suppose they changed it to the Washington Blackskins.
I think people would be furious, and rightly so.
Okay, thanks a lot.
See you later.
The Bullets lost their name because, it implied gangbanging.
Let me say this. The Washington Bullets was a great name.
It was an excellent name.
That was a great name.
There was nothing wrong with it.
And the Wizards is a ridiculously dumb Harry Potter stupid name.
Oh, that's too far on the other side.
Mike, you're on Ron and Fez.
Hey, how you doing, Ron and Fez?
Good, buddy.
Go ahead, pal.
Hey, listen, about Christopher Columbus. When he made the voyage, nobody wanted to go into this voyage. So he took people from jail, plus thieves. So all these people, they just went to steal stuff from, these Indians. So they killed all these guys in there. So basically, there was a lot of these people that went there, it was people from jail. So I don't have to think this son of a gun. I got to say.
All right, thank you. So he's saying that he was killing people on the way over here in the boat. Before he even got to America, he was killing his own guys. Here is Eric. Eric, you're on the Ron and Fez show.
Hey, Eric.
Yeah, hi, guys.
What you got?
Quick history lesson.
Please.
Christopher Columbus never stepped foot in what we know as the continental United States. So all this stuff about he killed all these Indians is a lie. He landed in the West Indies.
Did he kill the West Indians?
It's not even on the continent. It's not even in our country.
Yeah, I always heard that he never came into the United States.
He never stepped foot in the United States.
He would have loved it.
But there was some place that, in, like they said, the West Indies, and then he thought he was going to be...
How many Indians could he have killed?
I know. Where did they get this killing ratio? Where does this come from? Mikey
It
D's...
just makes them sound like, we've been taken advantage of. Give us money.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much. So, there's Eric's point of view. But, Mikey, where are you getting that? Who did you set the dogs out on?
Well, according to
you seem like you're part of this. You're one of the protesters, one of the anti-Columbus people. Somewhere along the line, you people have got to back this up.
No, I was brought up to,
Who did he do? Who did he kill?
They're saying the Tainos, if I'm saying that right, Tainos. That was the Indian people.
All right, here's Vincent. Vincent, you're on Run of Fez. Vincent, what you got?
That last caller that called saying they should call them the black skins.
Yeah.
Why is there a time? I bet that guy was white. Why don't they call them the white skins?
Hey, sir, I'm offended by that. If someone called them the white skins, I'd run home from school crying.
Yeah, the white skins.
Well, I would have no problem with the white skins, but that's me. I've never gotten hurt by the word honky or cracker. It's never brought me down too much.
You're a little bit more thick white-skinned.
I guess I am. It just has never bothered me as much as some of these whiteys. All right, thanks, man.
That's just mean.
866-277-4969. Here's Kenny. Kenny, you're on Run of Fez.
Kenny, what you got?
Hey, guys.
Go ahead, pal.
Redskins games. Every game, there's people outside protesting the name and everything.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, they always have their little groups, and then they have the people against the stupid protests and things like that.
So it's protesters against the protesters.
Yeah, yeah.
That's in the band out there.
Just like they had the Masters. They had people protesting, and then they got the people against stupid protests.
Right.
Everybody protests something, so...
Do you think
I'm a social studies teacher, too, and the guy that was just on a little bit ago talking, Columbus never did set foot on. Yeah, we brought some massive crap the Europeans did over here and brought some disease and everything that killed off people, but the majority of it was, it wasn't Columbus.
So Columbus, not a killer himself.
No, Columbus himself, I'm sure he actually killed people on his own crew and things like that, but...
And who didn't?
Specifically, he wasn't.
We should.
Indirectly, the Europeans are responsible for...
All right, here comes Wonder Boy. Wonder Boy, what do you got?
All right, the thing is that the Indian people, they have a history. What they were doing is they were, writing things down at the time. And what their history is saying is that not only was Columbus bad, but the people that he brought were all murderers. They're all prisoners. They're all society's misfits. And what they did was they literally they felt they were entitled to anything that these Indians had.
All right, here's what I don't understand, though. And I know that you're like the bleeding heart guy. All right? And I'll even believe you about what you're saying. But you got a whole continent, okay? No, make that 2 continents and Central America lining up against 3 effing boats. Why couldn't they have kicked some ass as soon as these guys stepped off?
The thing is that the Indians didn't want to have to kick any ass. What happened was they were not prepared to fight against these...
Against 3 boats, you could have beat them with sticks.
But the thing is they had the Westerners had better weapons. They had gunpowder. They had things that the Indians weren't prepared to fight against. And then these people slaughtered them.
How long would the gunpowder last?
It wasn't like
how long it took to reload then?
But let's say you line up and not even use the whole North American continent. You load up the East Coast to hit 3 boats.
Okay, but first of all, that the Indians they weren't networked across the entire continent. It wasn't
That's where they made a mistake.
It wasn't like they could have organized every...
That's where they made a mistake.
The natives couldn't have organized all of themselves all the way across the whole thing.
All right, you can't put together 1,000 guys, 2,000 guys?
But if it's a war that you didn't realize you were fighting, you're already going to start off in the hole before you even realize there's a war going on. So these people came in and started slaughtering the natives. The natives weren't prepared. All they had were hatchets. They had spears, rudimentary
But they
weapons.
were also, at that point, with Europeans, they were still using the red coat method of everybody lining up, marching in a straight line, where the natives... They could have picked them off from trees and everywhere else.
Again, the natives weren't looking to fight. The natives were... Once people start attacking you and start trying to dominate you, then you start saying, all right, it's gold, fine, we'll give you gold.
Because they're so peaceful, right? The natives were so peaceful.
I didn't say they were
See, that's what always gets to me. It's not that there wasn't wars between these tribes. There was. But these were not... This wasn't paradise before the Europeans got here. My point was always... You should have started knocking these guys off the boat before their boots got dry.
again, the people were going about their day-to-day life. That would be like if someone came into where we are right here and just started attacking us before we...
No.
We get to Harry, and that's about it.
Let me tell you something. Aliens land today in the West Indies. A spaceship comes down. A bunch of aliens get off. As soon as they start, I mean, right away we're going to go, hey, is it E.T.? We're trying to get along with you. The first girl that gets raped, the first guy that gets whacked, we're going after them with everything we got.
The thing is
and I guarantee you what the guys in that neighborhood themselves would.
The natives weren't even able to comprehend these things that the Europeans were bringing over.
Or what? Like what? What could they get?
Gunpowder. The fact that people were landing from the sea. To them, the sea had fish and plants.
Oh, they didn't have a canoe.
So now you're thinking that they thought that they were fish and plants raping their women.
No. What I'm saying is that they were not able to get their...
a continent of retards, and it wasn't.
No, but there's a difference between being retarded and not ever having a concept of a foreigner or of a person coming across the shore.
How long does it take you to catch on to that, though? Again, would I ever know what an alien was? No. But day one, after somebody got raped, I'd have been kicking a little ass.
Yeah, and you realize real quick that it's the guy in the metal hat that's the enemy.
And again, I mean, so if the guy in the metal hat also has a gun, something, again, you can't conceptualize.
Again, I couldn't understand what some kind of radar gun was or whatever. These blasters they're going to be using from space. That doesn't mean I'm not going to hit the guy in his big green head with a brick. I would. I'd crush his head with a brick.
And you would know to go get the blast stick.
The other thing, too, is this isn't like a generic chess match. I mean, if someone hurt someone in your family, all of a sudden, you know, maybe you don't want anyone else hurt. You're like, oh, gold, fine, done.
No.
Certain cultures want to work things out and not fight.
They fought with each other before. We didn't teach them fighting. You know
See, that's what drives me insane.
Here's Gene. You're on Run of Fez.
Hey, Gene.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, before he starts off on anything, you might want to let him know that between those three ships you were talking maximum 120 people.
All right, that drives me nuts.
But you again, 120 guns against 1,000 steers.
They didn't have 120.
Everybody didn't get a gun.
And even if they did, that's 120 bullets. Tops.
No, they had more than one bullet.
No, by the time you get it, you're taking a half an hour. You're packing powder. You know how many bricks I could be knocking them out with by then?
3 minutes to reload.
Again, Gene, I mean...
And coconuts are flying at that point.
You're driving me crazy, Wonder Boy. I wish I could have some kind of time-traveling device, and I would have got here in 1490, and I would have got the Indians wrapped around me, and we would have bull-rushed those Spanish bastards the second they came up. Gary, you're on Ron and Fez.
Who's that Indian with the cigar?
And I believe I could have ended pollution. But I'd still be holding the shores today. What can we do for you, Gary?
Yeah, you got to tell Wonder Boy he's such a knucklehead. One thing, the old guns took almost 2 minutes to reload each. And also, too, the Indians have been slaughtering each other for thousands of years before we got there. Don't tell me they didn't understand the concept.
And they, not only did they slaughter each other, they had no problem taking each other's women and enslaving each other.
Like that was something they did constantly. They were always taking women.
And the Mayans and all them, they had slaves.
Again, Gary,
and sacrifices.
Again, the natives did not have the weapons that the Europeans had. So fighting against each other, yeah, I mean, that's something they could understand. But if someone comes in, again, I mean, Columbus landed and put as many people as he could in chains. It wasn't like that they just keep letting them roam around free. I mean, the men were allowed to roam free, so they could.
What would you do with Columbus Day?
I don't think it should be a holiday at all. I mean, again, it celebrates the fact that someone felt he was entitled to something that wasn't his, and then they came over and just kicked enough ass, and then it's ours. It's awful. It's a travesty.
Do you ever take off on Columbus Day?
No, I'll schedule myself to work on Columbus Day because I won't observe it.
You never been to the Columbus Day parade?
Never.
You're missing.
Really a lot of great food. A lot of great Italian food.
And how are you catching these Indian people to put them in chains? They got to be as fast as deer.
I know.
Well, again, they have to sleep. I mean, if one of these parties shows up at night, you start chaining people up.
They're used to a bear coming into the camp.
And they got to find their way around a continent that they never even know how to get around. You know how dark it's here at night?
But there were Indians everywhere. I mean, it was, as soon as
you wish that you were an Indian, right? That's
yes. They're spiritual people. They're peaceful people by and large.
I hate it when someone has the home field advantage and they bitch about losing.
I will give them this. I will say the Indians, best hair on the planet. just so long and silky nice.
Yeah,
If I had
shiny.
Indian hair, I'd be so happy. You ever see a bald Indian once, Fez?
Never.
Thank you.
Now that I think about it,
No
never.
further questions. You didn't think about it. I gave it to you. Jay, you're on Ron and Fez.
But now I'm thinking.
Hi, Ron and Fez.
Hey,
buddy.
Jay.
I don't know why you don't believe Wonder Boy. The Europeans did this all over the world. They've done it to the Chinese, the Indians in India, the Australians, the Africans. They do the same thing. They invade and conquer superior cultures. It's happened time and time again. So, I mean, it's a totally believable story.
No, I do believe that everything that the Europeans came here, they abused the native people. I think they've done it all over. And it is now in our history books. My thing is, the Indians could have done a better job of defending themselves. That's what frustrates me.
All over the world could have done a better job. The Africans could have. The Australians could have.
Again,
the Chinese could have.
how were they able to capture slaves?
That kind of violence. That kind of...
All right, Jay, they always tell me, like, let's say with African slaves, that it was other African tribes catching those people and bringing them to the Europeans. Because there's no way the Europeans could run through the jungle that they don't even know and be able to catch these people.
You have no way of getting around those areas unless you're getting help.
Another thing, too, information didn't travel very fast. So, for example, if the Europeans are starting to capture and kill Indians, the natives, when other natives came across these Europeans, they didn't know to be scared. They didn't know to worry. I mean, if these people showed up with, we'd like to trade with you, all of a sudden you start a dialogue, the next thing you know, your entire village is in chains.
All right, they knew to be afraid of the horse. Well, the first time they saw that, they freaked out. They knew to be afraid of a dog.
Well, because the horse didn't trick them, though.
It's a smart move to be defensive when somebody shows up. That's not a bad move. And the minute they start to take people in chains, then you got to fight for yourself.
I don't believe that the natives were that blissfully retarded that they would let this strange-looking European creature come right into their midst.
Again, if it was someone where they had worked some kind of a relationship where that person went out to do that to calm the natives, so now, okay, we can bring in a bunch of people. The next thing you know, those people decide that they want to start enslaving the natives. It's completely possible that the natives decided that they were going to use an approach where they didn't have to just come in with their guns blazing. They would come in, they would develop a rapport, and then once that rapport was in place, they could capture a greater number of people.
Do you think it's like the African example, where it was other Indians or other natives turning in their fellow natives?
I think that if anything, that for example, if a settler had showed up in someone's village and said, oh, is there another village nearby? These people might have said, yeah, sure, there's a village, this many increments of measurement away. You can go talk to those people. We trade with people over here. So they might have unwittingly given up more natives, yeah.
Oh, but they're sophisticated enough to have a trade route.
Well, again, they, just because you're sophisticated enough to have a trade route doesn't mean that you're necessarily a better fighter than gunpowder.
I just don't think you're that ignorant to violence as a native.
And it depends, like I said, when the violence...
you can't comprehend the concept.
It depends when the violence is unleashed on you. If someone came up to you with a gift or some kind of an offering and then changed switch the table around, you're not going to see that coming.
I understand. I'm with you all the way on that. I think that the Europeans were the bad guys in this. And yet, I think they could have gotten their ass beat. Pretty easy. Here's Bob. Bob, you're on Ron and Fez.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that everybody's sitting here saying stuff about they came over and the Indians just started handing them gold like they were carrying around purses and wallets. The Native Americans were pretty much a bartering people. They didn't have stores where they needed gold. They would trade for weapons and everything. So, and they were savage, because I'm part Indian, and the Blackfoot Indians were like one of the most savage tribes out there. They knew how to fight.
They learned how to scout people long before there was white women to do it to.
Yeah, the bow and arrow is just as effective as them old ancient guns, man. You take 2 minutes, you can fire 15 arrows in that 2 minutes it takes to reload.
So why did they let them... Why, first of all, did they ever give up the beach?
Yeah. Why let them inland?
I have no idea.
Well, I'm sure there were no sentries posted on a beach that they had never had to defend before. The other thing, too, is could you win a war if you were prepared to fight? Yeah. But the thing is if a war starts before you're prepared, you're forever behind the curve.
Everybody has to be prepared to protect their own, and those Indians knew that.
Again, it depends how prepared are you.
Acting like they're retarded. And they
Not at all. What I'm saying is, if you, let's say you have 13 arrows in your house because you've never had to face more than 10 people. If all of a sudden a boat of 90 Europeans come over, you're not ready to fight on that scale.
I would not run over there by myself. I'd say to all my friends, hey, everybody, we got trouble. Let's go. Let's get some gang together and let's go.
And you know Columbus isn't emptying the entire boat.
And I'd yell like this. I have my 10 hours. 10 hours. Who else has arrows? Who shall join me? And it would be like Gladiator. And we'd all run down there and we'd be killing white people. And the next thing they know, they'd be looking out in France or Spain and they'd see, oh, here comes the boats back. And Indians would hop off and start killing them on their own turf. Because the difference between me and the Indians, and no one ever tried this with the Europeans, I'd take the fight to them. I'd take it to them.
They didn't have the idea of entitlement that the Europeans had.
Here is Carl. Carl, you're on Run and Fez.
Hey, Carl.
Yeah, you know what really ticks me off, guys, is it's always the Europeans. The Europeans. Does Tibet ring a bell? China's in Tibet. The Tibetan people don't want them there. The Mayans, the people, countries, the superior, smarter people have always conquered the retards.
All right, now wait a minute. Now, Carl, now hold on.
It's not the Europeans all
Do
the
you
time.
think that the Chinese are smarter than the Tibetans? I don't think anyone's ever said that before.
No, but
I don't think the Chinese are all that bright.
The Europeans are bad. The Europeans are bad. China has Tibet. People don't want them there, but, you know, they sort of overlook that when it comes to Columbus because Columbus was European. I'm not saying the Europeans were good people, but, you know, the Egyptians, they enslaved people. Every superior thinking country, nationality, race of people have always tried to conquer.
What do you say to that?
Well, I don't agree with people being conquered anywhere, but the reason it comes up here is because the Europeans were who dominated the natives of our country.
Right. Now, I'll pass this over to Fez on the history thing. So we did, I mean, the European people did. Let's face it, the white people did this thing. Do we celebrate it, or do we take responsibility and say, this was wrong, in our history books that we're teaching our own kids?
I think you have to take the responsibility. You have to take the responsibility to give people the facts of what happened and let them decide what they're going to celebrate.
Do we make it up through money to the black people that we brought here as slaves and to Native American people? Do we pay them back just like in a lawsuit?
No.
Do we owe them?
No, we don't owe reparations.
Do we owe them, Wonder Boy?
Yeah, and I think that the first start of that could be instead of making Columbus Day a holiday, you make it a Day of Atonement.
What if we do this? Instead of Columbus Day, and instead of just paying back, everybody leaves. All the white people leave.
Just gets out?
Yeah.
I don't want to go back to Canada.
We'd be leaving Canada, too.
Damn.
Yeah, I never explained this to you, but you're not, Canada is actually part of this continent. So you got problems, because more than most people.
Yeah. I got to figure out where we go from there.
You're flying. That's the bad part here. You're flying across the pond.
I'm getting on a boat.
We are, the boats will be filled with Indians, I believe, attacking Europe. All right, and I will lead them. So I'll be the man called Force. If nobody else wants to lead the Indians, I'll do it. We'll take a break. We're right back. Run it fast.